Qualifying is done. Europe's greatest club competition is back. It's season 70 overall, season number 33 under the UEFA Champions League branding. 2024-25 is a hugely significant year, the first with a new main stage format that provides us with more teams and more total matches. The group stage as you knew it is gone, replaced by a giant 36-team league phase. All of the qualifiers have been ranked into 4 pots of 9, based on the UEFA club coefficient. Every team has been allocated 8 total fixtures, a match against 2 different opponents from each pot, one of them being a home game, the other an away clash. As with standard practice, teams have not been able to face sides from the same association at this early stage of the UCL. Upon the conclusion of matchday 8, the 36 teams will have been ranked in a giant league table, possessing between 0 and 24 points in total. From here, the sides ranked first to 8th receive automatic byes to the round of 16, which begins in March 2025. The sides ranked between 9th and 24th form the 16-team knockout phase playoffs, drawn into 8 two-legged ties, which take place soon after the conclusion of the league phase in February 2025. Those 8 tie winners join the 8 top-ranked sides to form the round of 16, and it's a straight knockout from there. Predicting the main stage has become a lot trickier now. It's not simply a case of being able to rank all 36 sides by ability level. Some sides have been presented with favourable fixture lists which boost their chances of finishing high. Others have a tough task on their hands across all 8 matches. I put the hours into this, studying the sides, running through and predicting the result of every single one of the 144 total fixtures. A 36-team table has been spat out at the end, and that's what I'm using as a final reference point. This video serves not only to you as a preview and introduction to the 36 UEFA Champions League sides, some of whom are very familiar faces and some of whom are complete newcomers to the competition, but also as my official prediction for how I think the league phase will look when we're all done in late January. Without further ado, let's begin. Working upwards from 36 to 1, this is the 2024-25 UEFA Champions League league phase. 36 SK Sturm Graz. The Austrians are at this stage of the Champions League for the first time since 2000, earning an automatic place after notably breaking the Salzburg stronghold on the Austrian Bundesliga to win the 23-24 title. Christian Ilse's side certainly don't have the worst fixture schedule to the league phase, but are still going to be the likely underdog in each match. Club Brugge at home on matchday 2 looks the best chance to points at this stage, with the biggest test being Borussia Dortmund away on matchday 4 and Atalanta away on matchday 7. It's ultimately going to be a case for Sturm of seeing how many points they can collect on their return to the very top level. If they are to achieve anything this season, Danish striker Mika Bierith is going to be key, with influence also needed from Brighton loanee Kel Sherpin in goal, Swiss centre-back Gregory Vutric in the heart of defence, and Slovenian Jon Gorenc Stankovic at the base of midfield. 35 SK Slovan Bratislava. A moment of history in the UCL. After a dramatic second-leg win against SC Midtjylland in the playoff round, Slovan have become the first side from Slovakia to reach the main stages of the UEFA Champions League. The reward, a pretty brutal-looking run of games, albeit what should be a great set of occasions for Chehelmopol and the city of Bratislava as a whole. Manchester City, Dinamo Zagreb, Milan and Stuttgart are the visitors, with testing trips particularly away at Atletico Madrid and Bayern Munich. Slovan's biggest hopes look to be that matchday 4 at home to Dinamo Zagreb. Eyes need to be on the potential game changers in this side. Vladimir Weiss Jr. is now 34. He's a third-generation Vladimir, whose father, Vladimir Sr., is the current Slovan manager. Armenian forward Tigran Barsegyan can also pull out moments of quality, whilst Guram Kasia and Kevin Wimmer should be key at the back. 34 BSC Young Boys. Make no mistake about it, the Swiss champions have a tough set of games, starting out with Aston Villa, Barcelona and Inter, facing both Atalanta and Stuttgart as part of their middle batch. It's those last two, away to Celtic and at home to Cervena Zvezda at the Stadion Wankdorf, that look their best chance to points at this stage. They'll do very well to make the playoff places by only winning their final 2 fixtures though. There's going to be some high levels of performance needed from the Bern outfit across this league phase, with individuals like Guinean centre-back Mohamed Camara and attacking midfielder Philip Ugrinic potentially key men. Right-sided forward Joel Montero might also be one that I'd keep an eye on. 33 Cervena Zvezda. What I've just said about young boys, it can really be repeated here with the Serbian champions. Cervena Zvezda, Red Star Belgrade as they're more commonly known on these shores, are up against it with their games. Benfica, Inter, Barcelona and Milan are among the big names in this set of fixtures for them. Again, it's that final 2. facing first PSV at the Stadion Rajko Mitic, and then going head-to-head with young boys up in Bern that could be their chance to end the league phase at least with some personal joy. Enhance the Rajko Mitic to the cauldron levels that it can reach, and they could though make life difficult to the Thor who come to the Serbian capital. Keep an eye out for Nigerian forward Peter Olayinka, Panamanian winger Jose Luis Puma Rodriguez, and Montenegrin attacking midfielder Mirko Ivanic. 32. Sparta Praha. We've had to wait a while to see the reigning Czech champions in this competition again. 2005-06 was the last time they appeared at this main stage of the UCL, finishing with just a single point from a group of Ajax, Arsenal and SC Thun. 2 extra matches now than back then, and a good chance of picking up more points than they did 19 years ago, especially their matchday 1 opener against SC Salzburg at their own Stadion Letna. Their Thor away fixtures, though, are a lot less forgiving. Stuttgart, Manchester City, Feyenoord and Bayer Leverkusen. A changed squad somewhat from the one that had a small Europa League run last season, but still the individuals like Serbian Veljko Birmančević and Slovakian Lukas Haraslin, both players that can produce a moment of individual quality. Danish goalkeeper Peter Vindal Jensen and central defender Filip Panak are going to be key to them as well. 31. Dinamo Zagreb. After a run in the Conference League in 23-24, it's back to the more familiar surroundings of the UCL for the record Croatian champions. It's often a level of quality they struggle to handle though. The last Champions League group stage where they avoided finished bottom of the group was way back in 1998. The Stadio Maximir has been a location of famous single-game upsets in the past, something that all four of Monaco, Borussia Dortmund, Celtic and Milan should be wary of before they head over there. Trips to Bayern Munich and Arsenal look daunting for Dinamo though, and matchday Thor away at Slovan Bratislava looks a must-win for their small playoff chances. It's games like that where eyes turn to Croatia international striker Bruno Petkovic, as well as the wide ability of Sandro Kulenovic, Marko Pjaka or Albanian Arba Hoxha. The centre-back pair of Samir Mamei and Kevin Teofil Katerin will be just as important as well. 30. Club Brugge. I normally want to get quite big on Club Brugge when in Europe. The Belgian champions offer a surprise package usually, while still developing and producing some fine young talent. That fixture list though is nasty. Sturm Graz away on matchday 2 is easily the best fixture for them, potentially Celtic away on matchday 5 too, but then there's the other 6. Borussia Dortmund, Milan, Aston Villa, Sporting, Juventus and finally Manchester City at the Etihad. The debut league phase draw hasn't been kind to the co-tenants of the Jan Bredel Stadion. That midfield trio of Hans Vanaken, Raphael Onyedika and Hugo Vetlesen have a big task ahead of them. Danish forward Andreas Skov Olsen is one to keep an eye on, as is exciting left-back Maxime de Kuiper. 29. Lille OSC. Edging the way past Slavia Praha in the playoff round to reach this league phase, the draw has not been forgiving to Lille. 5 of their 8 fixtures are against fellow top 5 league sides, including a match away at Liverpool and matches against both Madrid outfits. Sturm Graz at home on matchday 6 is the most winnable, with the schedule starting and ending against a pair of opponents in Sporting and Feyenoord that are serious European banana skins to the French side. Top goal-scoring form from Canadian striker Jonathan David gives Lille a real fighting chance at making the knockout rounds. Goalkeeper Lucas Chevalier is a handy asset too, with others to watch including English midfielder Angel Gomez, versatile defender Bathode Diakite, and the shots from range of Kosovan forward Edon Shagrova. 28. Shakhtar Donetsk. It will be the Arena Al Schalke in Gelsenkirchen, Germany that plays host to Shakhtar Donetsk's UCL home games this season. If it's anything like past campaigns, there will be good numbers turning out to back the Ukrainian champions whilst they play on despite the conflict back home. Their fixture list presents them with 6 opponents from UEFA's top 5 leagues, including a trip to Arsenal on matchday 3, a home clash with Bayern Munich on matchday 6, and a very close matchday 8 encounter at Borussia Dortmund. It's certainly possible for the Ukrainian club to challenge and grab a knockout round spot, especially if they take advantage of their middle pair of fixtures with Young Boys and PSV. Plenty of homegrown talent to keep an eye on here, midfielders Georgi Sudakov and Artem Bondarenko, as well as striker Danilo Sikan being among them. The Brazilian pair of Kevin and Pedrinho, 21 and 26 respectively, have featured regularly out wide as the newest Ukrainian Premier League season has started. 27. SC Salzburg. The Red Bull Salzburg name's not allowed in Europe, so Austria's record champions still operate in this competition under an altered name and crest. Salzburg haven't grabbed an automatic league phase spot for this term, pipped to last season's Bundesliga by Sturm Graz, and therefore needing to beat both SC Twente and Dynamo Kiev in qualifying. if the Austrians are to make the knockouts, they need to get out of the blocks early. Sparta Praha, Brest, Dinamo Zagreb and Feyenoord make up the first 4 games. Bayer Leverkusen, Paris Saint-Germain, Real Madrid and Atletico Madrid make up their final 4. Get the points early to stamp authority on competition and then do what you can from that last quartet to get over the line. Regardless of what you think of Red Bull's presence within modern football, it's hard to deny that they haven't created a great pathway to developing talent, especially here at Salzburg. The central pair of Dane Moritz Kiergaard and Israeli talent Oscar Gluck look to be the latest emerging into top prospects. Bosnian Amar Dedic is a handy versatile option to the backline, with forward options including the Malian pair of Dorgeles Nene and Moussa Yeo. 26. Celtic. Though I have them just outside of the playoff round places here, I am certainly not calling Celtic's knockout chances impossible. The Scottish champions have a fairly nice looking fixture schedule, with Slovan Bratislava, Leipzig, Club Brugge and Young Boys being the 4 who come up to Glasgow. Take advantage of those, as well as the matchday 6 away trip to Dinamo Zagreb, and a middle batch finish is absolutely on. It would be good to see Celtic make a mark on the new format, especially with how they have disappointed as an automatic qualifier to the last 2 UCL group stages. Japanese stars like Ryo Hatate, Daitsun Maeda and Kyogo Tsuruhashi are undoubtedly going to be ones to keep an eye on, with Callum McGregor a crucial asset in central midfield and veteran Dane Kasper Schmeichel now the man between the sticks at Celtic Park. 25. AS Monaco. The clubs from the Principality are back in Europe after a year away and last played at this stage of the UCL even further back in 2018. It's a tricky return to the summit of club competition, starting out with a home game against Barcelona. That's followed by a pair of frankly must-win matches against Dinamo Zagreb and Crvena Zvezda, especially as they end the league phase against Arsenal, Aston Villa and Inter. Such as the way this predicted league phase looks, it could simply come down to a matter of goal difference that determines whether or not Monaco earn one of the knockout round spots. Switzerland international Denis Zakaria and Russian midfielder Alexander Golovin are likely to play a part if this is achieved. Japanese attacking midfielder Takumi Minamino and American international striker Tholarin Balogun are ones to also keep an eye on. 24. Stade Bressois Van Neerth. It's been some rise for the clubs from Brittany's coast. They were in the 4th tier as recently as 2000, the 2nd as recently as 2019. It's after a stellar 23-24 campaign and a 3rd place finish that they find themselves automatically qualified to the inaugural UCL League phase, a first ever appearance in European competition. The only real downside, their Stade Francis Le Bleu doesn't meet UEFA requirements. Their 4 home matches are therefore taking place further east at the Stade de Rouderou in Gangomp. Brest's status as an unknown to the European scene needs to be taken advantage of, especially when you have Sturm Graz, SC Salzburg and Sparta Praha among your first 4 fixtures. Matchdays 5 and 6, hosting PSV and visiting Germany to face Shakhtar Donetsk, are also good opportunities for precious points, sandwiched between testing fixtures against Bayer Leverkusen, Barcelona and Real Madrid. Ones to watch in this Brest side: goalkeeper Marco Bizzo, centre-back Brendan Chardonnay, winger Roman Del Castillo, and, when he's backing up to speed, midfielder Pierre-Lys Malou. 23. Feyenoord. A new face in the dugout at De Kuip, with Sparta Praha's Danish coach Brian Prisk being the man chosen to fill the role left by Arne Slot. It's funny how football works sometimes. The 47-year-old has a home meeting with Sparta on matchday 6, forming what is part of a mixed run of fixtures. Home games against Bayer Leverkusen and Bayern Munich, alongside a trip to Manchester City, but also matches against Sparta, SC Salzburg and Lille that may be good opportunities for precious points. It's a joint effort from the team and the Rotterdam crowd needed to get the Dutch side into one of the knockout places. Left-sided Slovakian defender David Hanchko, 23-year-old midfielder Quinten Timber and Mexican striker Santiago Jimenez are among the big names to watch out for in this Feyenoord team. Attacking midfielder Calvin Stengs is a likeable asset as well. 22. PSV. Peter Bosch's side stormed to the Eredivisie title last season, losing just 1 game and scoring 111 goals, all whilst also making the round of 16 of the Champions League. 22nd feels like it could be the minimum position that the Dutch champions end up in this time, given a fixture list that does contain some challenges like Juventus, Paris Saint-Germain and Liverpool, but also includes competitive fixtures like Shakhtar Donetsk, Brest and Crvena Zvezda within the last 4. It has to be said, their start to 24-25 suggests that relentless attacking quality hasn't gone away. Luke de Jong is still a huge asset up top, supported by Noah Lang, Johan Bakayoko or Herving Lozano. Yerdy Schuten and Yuri Veerman are great in the centre of the park, with Frenchman Olivier Boscagli partnered recently in central defence by 21-year-old Ryan Flamingo. 21. RB Leipzig. I still wonder if we've already seen the peak moment of RB Leipzig, that run to the Champions League semi-finals from back in 2019-20. The German club has been a consistent round of 16 exit team during the final years of the UCL group stages. Now in this new league format, do they even manage to get that far? Leipzig's fixture list of 24-25 is not nice. The kindest fixture is matchday 8 away at Sturm Graz. Before that, you've got all of Atletico Madrid, Juventus, Liverpool, Inter and Aston Villa to contend with, as well as a trip to Glasgow to face Celtic and a home match with Portuguese champions Sporting. Similar to Salzburg, it's about the talents that Leipzig possess. Dutchman Xavi Simons is still on loan from Paris Saint-Germain. Slovenian Benjamin Sesko remains a hot name on Europe's radar. Feyenoord's Lucharel Geertruida has been added to the right side defence, as has Norwegian forward Antonio Nusa. Belgian striker Loïc Openda, Hungarian centre-back Willy Orban and German left-back David Raum are ones who can carry influence. 20. Sporting CP. The Portuguese champions still a safe bet to at least make the knockaround playoffs as either a seeded or unseeded side, and capitalising on a couple of high-profile home fixtures could provide the points to take them from the middle of this league table and up towards the upper end. Matchdays 4 and 5 are home fixtures against the English pair of Manchester City and Arsenal, with none of the three fixtures either side looking like guaranteed defeats to Sporting. Matchday 2 away at Dutch champions PSV is one I particularly like the look of, whilst Lille and Bologna are the others who head to the Estadio Jose Alvalade at the start and end of the league phase respectively. Sporting have a very likeable 3-4-3 shape under Ruben Amorim, spearheaded by exceptional Swedish striker Victor Gyökeres. Gonçalo Ignacio and Ivorian Ousmane Diamonde are great talents in defence. Dane Morten Hjulmand is a big asset in the centre, whilst Pedro Gonçalves offers ability and versatility either in central midfield or out wide as part of the front line. Plenty to like with this Lisbon outfit. 19. Girona. A European debutant off the back of a stellar 23-24 in La Liga. Girona are part-owned by the City Football Group, delivering a return to the Spanish top flight in 2022 after a 2019 relegation, and now coming off the back of their highest ever finish in the pyramid. The teams from Catalonia will have earned their stripes if they do make it to the knockout stages. Starting out away at Paris Saint-Germain, they have a favourable next four against Feyenoord, Slovan Bratislava, PSV and Sturm Graz, before finishing with Liverpool, Milan and Arsenal. It's going to be a new experience of their competition to see both Girona and the Estadio Montilivi at the summit of the European game, and they need to make a potential surprise factor count. The experienced figures of Argentine goalkeeper Paulo Gazzaniga and Dutch defender Daley Blind are likely to be key to Girona's chances. Others to watch out for include left-back Miguel Gutierrez, Venezuelan midfielder Yangel Herrera, Ukrainian winger Viktor Zigankov and new striker Abel Ruiz. 18. Benfica. It wouldn't really feel like a proper Champions League season without Portugal's record champions in amongst the teams. The Estadio da Luz has a pair of Spanish visitors this term in the form of Atletico Madrid and Barcelona, as well as both Feyenoord and Bologna. Bayern Munich away on matchday 4 looks like the toughest test of the lot, but that is included alongside an opener at Cervena Zvezda and a matchday 5 clash at AS Monaco. Knockout round playoffs at the least still very achievable for the Lisbon Giants, especially with some of the new faces that they brought in. Versatile attacking midfielder Zeki Amdouni is a real handful if he rediscovers his Basel form. Luxembourg's Lucas Barrero joins Erkan Kukcu and Florentino in the central unit. Kerem Atatürkoğlu is in from Galatasaray as a wide alternative to the likes of Gianluca Prestiani or Angel Di Maria, and there's also Greek striker Evangelos Pavlidis up top. The incredibly versatile Norwegian Fredrik Ørsnes, meanwhile, remains one of my favourite players in all of Europe. 17. Bologna. The last time we had Bologna in the top level of European competition, the year was 1964. The Stadio Renato Dell'Ara gets its first taste of the UCL branding this season, but Bologna will go forward without their impactful manager Thiago Motta, now elsewhere in Italy. It's former Fiorentina and Spezia man Vincenzo Italiano in charge of the Emilia-Romagna outfit, getting to host Shakhtar Donetsk, Monaco, Lille and Borussia Dortmund, whilst facing 2 trips to England and Portugal to face the quartet of Liverpool, Aston Villa, Benfica and Sporting. Winger Riccardo Orsolini is the main one to watch in this Bologna side, especially while Scottish midfielder Lewis Ferguson remains out of action. Polish goalkeeper Lukasz Skorupski, Austrian defender Stefan Posch and Swiss midfielder Remo Freuler are others who could have a key role to play in taking Bologna to the knockouts. 16. Juventus. It wasn't too long ago that the old lady felt like the untouchable summit of Italian football. It's now 4 years though since the last Serie A title and 5 years since they went past the round of 16 in the UEFA Champions League. 23-24 saw them have no European football whatsoever. Juve are back in the UCL this term though, under a new head coach in Bologna's Thiago Motta. It's a largely favourable return to Europe for the Juventus Stadium, Manchester City being the only big hitter visitor in a list that also includes PSV, Stuttgart and Benfica. Away fixtures at Leipzig, Lille, Aston Villa and Club Brugge all feel potential banana skin matches though. Standouts in this current Juventus side, Brazilian defender Bremer, new Dutch midfielder turned Koopmeiners, Turkish forward Kenan Yildiz and Serbian striker Dusan Vlahovic. The start of the season that Samuel Mbangula has had makes the 20-year-old Belgian potentially one to watch out for as well. 15. Arsenal. The Gunners have the undoubted quality to challenge for a top 8 position, but there are a couple of factors which contribute to their lower position in this predicted table. Arsenal's home fixtures don't raise too much concern. The biggest test is the Matchday 2 home clash with Paris Saint-Germain, but the other 3 against Shakhtar, Monaco and Dinamo Zagreb shouldn't be an issue. Their 4 away games, however, Atalanta, Inter, Sporting and Girona, all feel like classic European banana skins that both past and present Arsenal sides have suffered from. Add to that the strong desire within the club to finally take the Premier League crown away from Manchester City. Might their priorities shift between now and the end of this inaugural league phase? Even if they don't get one of the very highest places in the league table, there is more than enough here to be assured of a knockout round playoff spot. Martin Odegaard and Declan Rice in midfield, Gabriel and William Saliba at centre-back, Bukayo Saka out on the right. Add to that the new faces, left-sided Italian defender Riccardo Calafiori, Spanish midfielder Mikel Merino, new backup goalkeeper Neto, and last-minute Chelsea loanee Raheem Sterling. Arsenal will be an intriguing watch in Europe this season. 14. Paris Saint-Germain. We're well into the batch of teams right now where the question isn't about whether they will make the knockouts, it's about whether they can show a high standard and ultimately get that bye to the round of 16. Such as the format of this new Champions League and the large number of big name sides within it, you are certain to have a few big hitters who will have to settle for top 24 rather than top 8. French champions PSG could be one of those sides. The Parisians have a tricky looking fixture list. Games against all of Arsenal, Atletico Madrid, Bayern Munich and Manchester City, whilst matches with Girona, PSV, SC Salzburg and Stuttgart feel far from formalities. They really will have earned it if they do make up one of the 8 highest places when we're all done. No superstar Mbappe in the capital anymore, but that doesn't suddenly make PSG a terrible team. Be excited for more further growth from wide man Bradley Barcola and midfielder Warren Zaire-Emery. João Neves comes in from Benfica for a big feed to add influence in deeper midfield. Achraf Hakimi still provides pace and threat from right back, with Stade Rennes talent Desiré Doué added to a front line that still includes Ousmane Dembele, Marco Asensio, Gonçalo Ramos and Randal Kolo Muani. Ecuadorian William Pacho is also in from Eintracht Frankfurt to partner Marquinhos in central defence. 13. Atalanta. There are few clubs more admirable in Europe for the way they go about things. The Bergamo outfit reached the UCL anyway through their 4th place Serie A finish, but officially joined this inaugural league phase after their superb Europa League win. That 3-0 victory over till then unbeaten Bayer Leverkusen in Dublin is another feather in the cap of long-standing boss Gianpiero Gasperini, and the peak so far for a football club that was in Serie B as recently as 2011. Atalanta now aspire to make their mark on the top level of the European game again. There are some tough tests in their fixture list, including an opener at home to Arsenal and a matchday 6 clash with Real Madrid at the Stadio de Bergamo that is a repeat of the recent UEFA Cup. Home games with Celtic and Sturm Graz, as well as away trips to both Gelsenkirchen and Bern, look nice opportunities though, all wrapped up with an away clash against Barcelona. Key figures like left wing-back Matteo Ruggeri, Brazilian midfielder Ederson, Belgian attacking midfielder Charles de Ketelaere and Italian striker Gianluca Scamacca all remain. Midfielder defender Martin de Roon, Albanian centre-back Berat Shimsiti and right wing-back Raul Bellanova also possess plenty of ability. 12. Aston Villa. Villa Park is back in the big time and it will be its first taste of the UCL branding. 4 great occasions for the Birmingham-based stadium to enjoy, starting out with Bayern Munich for a game that brings back plenty of memories of Villa's greatest triumph. the 1982 European Cup final. A fellow big hitter in Juventus also visit the second city, as do Bologna and finally Celtic, whilst Villa fans get to take in the sights of Bern, Bruges, Leipzig and Monaco through away matches. That's 4 nice-looking away games, and if they can couple that with a good home return, they'll not only be assured of a playoff round spot, but could well challenge for those top 8 positions. Standout figures in this Villa side are familiar names: Emiliano Martinez in goal, Ollie Watkins up top, John McGinn in midfield, Ezri Konsa and Pau Torres in central defence. 11. VfB Stuttgart. It's been 11 years since we last saw Stuttgart and the now called MHP Arena in European competition. You've got to go back 15 years for the last Champions League appearance, ultimately exiting to FC Barcelona in the round of 16. A superb second-place finish in last season's Bundesliga has brought the Baden-Württemberg outfit back into the top level, and Sebastian Hoeneß's side have the chance to make a good account of themselves. Their fixture list is quite nice. Its toughest tasks come at the start and end, kicking off away at holders Real Madrid and finishing against Paris Saint-Germain at what is known as the Arena Stuttgart for the UEFA club competitions. Fixtures against Sparta Praha, Crvena Zvezda and Slovan Bratislava in the middle though, as well as the Italian pair of Juventus and Atalanta. An opportunity here to rack up a good amount of points and potentially end the league phase close to the top 8 conversation. International forward Dennis Undav is going to be the main one to watch, with Angelo Stiller and Atakan Karazor key in the centre of the park. Dynamic left-back Maximilian Mittelstädt is a fun watch as well. 10. Milan. The Italian giants have a tricky start to this inaugural league phase. Liverpool, Bayer Leverkusen and Real Madrid make up 3 of the first 4 games. It could leave them with work to do to catch up to the top pack, but that's where a potentially favourable final 4 of Slovan Bratislava, Crvena Zvezda, Girona and Dinamo Zagreb comes in handy. A strong second half of the league phase, combined with precious points from those big hitter clashes, and an automatic round of 16 spot is certainly possible. The Rossoneri have plenty of the familiar names still on board. Goalkeeper Mike Magnon, centre-back Takeo Tomori, attacking midfielder Ruben Loftus-Cheek, forward Christian Pulisic, as well as that excellent left-hand side of Theo Hernandez and Rafael Leao. Spanish striker Alvaro Morata arrives to add another elite club to his career list, with other signings including promising Serbian defender Strahinja Pavlovic, Brazilian right-back Emerson Royal, French midfielder Youssef Fofana, and the cross-league loan addition of English striker Tammy Abraham. 9. Atletico de Madrid. There's so much of Atletico that remains familiar. The Estadio Metropolitano, Diego Simeone in the dugout, a desire to get back to the somewhat golden period of the mid-2010s. The most testing fixtures for the capital club look to be the trip to Paris Saint-Germain on matchday 4 and the home fixture with Bayer Leverkusen on matchday 7, but then there are also very winnable matches against Lille, Sparta Praha and Slovan Bratislava. That Leverkusen game at the Metropolitano feels like inevitable last-minute drama to me. This is a pretty typical Simeone side too. Jan Oblak in goal, Robin Lenormand added into central defence, where figures like Jose Jimenez and Axel Witsel remain, legs for days in midfield, with Julian Alvarez a new partner to Antoine Griezmann in the front line. Norwegian striker Alexander Sørloth has been added too. 8. FC Barcelona. Up into the automatic round of 16 spots, and starting with a club who probably still think they are closer to the European summit than they actually are. Barcelona still have their financial and registration issues, looking at times like a toddler who has been handed pocket money and has no real interest in keeping hold of it. The Catalan giants have a good run of games, though they do have to face the German pair of Bayern Munich and Borussia Dortmund on matchdays 3 and 6 respectively. Bayern have haunted Barca in recent times. It's the Estadio Olympique Luis Companys that remains the temporary home whilst the Camp Nou goes through its renovation work. Young boys, Bayern, Brest and Atalanta are the 4 who visit the 1992 Summer Olympic Stadium. Barcelona's desire to still spend despite their issues is what has at least managed to get them Euro-winning midfield man Dani Olmo eventually registered to play and influence from the centre. He adds to a group that still has Ronald Araujo, Frankie de Jong and Robert Lewandowski as key imports, coupled with serious talents from what remains one of the world's best academies. Lamine Yamal is a name everyone knows now. Gavi will be back down the line to rejoin Pedri in midfield. Pau Cabasi is an impressive defensive talent who is still just 17. Marc Bernal and Marc Casado could emerge this season, whilst Fermin Lopez returns off the back of an exceptional Olympic Games. 7. Inter. The runaway Italian champions have a fixture list that will certainly prove their credentials as a top 8 finisher in this inaugural league phase. It all starts away at Manchester City in what is a repeat of the 2023 UCL final, followed by winnable games against Cervena Zvezda and Young Boys before a testing home match against Arsenal. There's also a trip to Bayer Leverkusen within the second half of their schedule. The quality certainly remains in Simone Inzaghi's side for Inter to pursue and reach the 8 highest places in the table. Loans of wing-back Carlos Augusto, midfielder Davide Fratesi and striker Marko Arnautovic have now been made into permanent transfers, with influential Polish midfielder Piotr Zielinski also across from Napoli and Iranian striker Mady Taremi added from Porto. That's on top of a group that already had Jan Sommer in goal, Alessandro Bastoni at the back, Nicolo Barella and Hakan Çalhanoğlu in midfield, as well as Marcus Thuram and Lautaro Martinez as frontline options. 6. Bayer 04 Leverkusen. Bayer's 23-24 season will go down in football history, so close to complete perfection. Xabi Alonso's side have already made the mark on the German game, and it's now time for his brilliant, determined team to make the mark on the top level of the European game. As one long unbeaten run ends, the opportunity for a new one begins. There are some great tests for Leverkusen in this inaugural league phase, including an eye-catching trip to Liverpool on matchday 4 and a potentially dramatic matchday 7 clash at Atletico Madrid. Add to that the pair of home fixtures against both Milan giants, as well as games with sides from the Netherlands, France, Austria and Czechia. The big boost to Bayer, this team doesn't feel weaker than the one that wrapped up the historic Bundesliga title last term. You still have got the exceptional talents of Florian Wirtz, Alex Grimaldo and Jeremy Frimpong strutting their stuff at the Bayer Arena, with Granit Xhaka controlling the midfield, Jonathan Tah enforcing the defence, and Nigerian striker Victor Boniface an option to lead the line. The Rennes pair of Martin Terrier and Janot Belosian add options to the left side of the front line and defence respectively, with Alex Garcia a new midfield addition and Nordi Mukiele loaned in from PSG for the right side of defence. 5. Liverpool. It's an extremely tough ask to succeed the influence and success of the Jurgen Klopp era, but Arne Slot is going the right way about it. Having started the Premier League season well, there'll be no doubt a desire for an impact in Europe as well. Their 8-game fixture schedule has no bigger standouts than matchdays 4 and 5, home fixtures against Bayer Leverkusen, with former favourite Xabi Alonso in the opposition dugout, and then up against holders Real Madrid. It's Milan, Bologna and Leipzig up first, with Girona, Lille and PSV to close out their league phase. Klopp has left Slot with what remains a quality core of players, although the group are ageing in places. Goalkeeper Alisson, centre-back Virgil van Dijk, technical Englishman Trent Alexander-Arnold and Egyptian wizard Mohamed Salah remain high in influence. Hungarian Dominik Szoboszlai, Scottish left-back Andy Robertson and Portuguese forward Diogo Jota are others to remain wary of. Federico Chiesa could prove a bargain late by if he rediscovers the levels we saw with Italy at Euro 2020. 4. Manchester City. With the natural expectations and perceptions of Manchester City, some might view 4th as a disappointment. 1st to 8th ultimately all give you the same thing in this UCL league phase. I wouldn't say that your exact position within that 8 matters too much. City have incentive again. Get back to the very summit of the European game. 23-24 brought a record-making 4th consecutive Premier League title. Could they make it 5 in a row whilst adding domestic and European trophy success? Of course they could. Manchester City make winning a habit like few others ever could. Pep Guardiola's men have a fixture list that they could very well collect maximum points out of. It is that matchday 7 game at Paris Saint-Germain that looks like the likeliest chance of failing to win, with matchday 6 away at Juventus and the matchday 1 opener at home to Inter being the other standouts. Julian Alvarez is the only real notable absence from last season's group. Even then, he was someone who was always seen as an alternative to the world-class ability of Erling Haaland or Kevin De Bruyne. Brazilian winger Savio is the main purchase, whilst Ilkay Gundogan is back only a year after leaving for Barcelona. Ederson, Kyle Walker, Ruben Diaz, John Stones, Josko Vardiol, Rodri, Bernardo Silva, Phil Foden, Jeremy Doku, the list goes on. City, as you would expect, are top. 3. Borussia Dortmund. Bethal Bay made it all the way to Wembley last time out, and the road to Munich in 24-25 begins with what looks like a lovely fixture schedule. There is one big test, a repeat of the final just gone as they head to Real Madrid on matchday 3. Some may also see matchday 6 at home to Barcelona as a tester, but they look like the only real games of threat in a list that includes 5 teams outside of Europe's top 5 leagues. Newly promoted head coach Nuri Sahin hasn't got all of the figures that were at the Westfalenstadion last season. The iconic names of Marco Reus and Mats Hummels have moved on. Jadon Sancho and Ian Maatsen were only loanies last term. Niklas Füllkrug is now in the Premier League. To try and combat that though, in come the Stuttgart pair of centre-back Valdemar Anton and Guinean goalscorer Serhii Guirassy, as does Hoffenheim forward Maximilian Bayer and utility man Pascal Gross, whilst Jan Couto is a right-back loan addition from Manchester City. Swiss goalkeeper Gregor Kobel, defender Nico Schlotterbeck and the midfield pair of Marcel Sabitzer and Julian Brandt have already stood out to this team. Young English winner Jamie Gittins is potentially the latest emerging star to watch out for in North Rhine-Westphalia. 2. Real Madrid. I'll come clean. I haven't got anyone finishing this league phase with the maximum 24 points. Both of my top two came in the final table with 22 points collected. That doesn't mean I would rule out the possibility of someone winning 8 out of 8 though, especially when you're talking about a giant like Real Madrid. No one club has dominated and conquered the top level of European football like Los Blancos have, true European football royalty. Real's fixture list for the inaugural league phase, as you would expect, is largely favourable. There is an intriguing middle 4 games though, at home to Borussia Dortmund and Milan before away trips to Liverpool and Atalanta, 2 of Europe's most successful teams in there, as well as the 2 teams Real Madrid have just beaten in European finals. Carlo Ancelotti brought a 15th European Cup back to the Bernabeu, all whilst usually operating without an out-and-out centre-forward. They now believe they have one. Kylian Mbappe has got that dream move to Madrid, and he's storming an incredible-looking front line with Vinicius Jr. and Rodrigo. Jude Bellingham can lower his goal-scoring responsibility as a result. There's still Courtois, Carvajal, Militao, Rudiger, Camavinga, Valverde, Modric, Tchouaméni and Arda Güler. Oh, and the small matter of Endrick, one of the hottest teenage talents in world football right now. It's not a top 8 finish that feels inevitable for Real Madrid. It's a deep run towards yet another final that feels inevitable with this team. Make a big deal if someone knocks them out. 1. Bayern Munich. 22 out of 24 points in my predicted league phase table. Bayern beat Real Madrid to top spot by virtue of having a stronger goal difference. I feel justified in feeling that way. Bayern Munich can and do show times in the early rounds of the Champions League where they can host underdogs at the Allianz and beat them heavily. Both Dinamo Zagreb and Slovan Bratislava are among the 4 who head to Munich this year, and you do fear for them. The game with the potential for dropping points? Plenty may look to the home match with Paris Saint-Germain on matchday 5. For me though, it's matchday 2 away at Aston Villa. The occasion, a repeat of 1982, Villa's home opener in the league phase, it's got potential upset written on it. Bayern come into 24-25 after finishing trophyless last season. You've got to go back to 2011-12 to the last time they entered the campaign without any silverware. Vincent Kompany is the man in the dugout, definitely not Bayern's first choice, plenty of critics watching on as he begins life in Bavaria. It's Bayern Munich though, the squad is full of ability. Latest additions include French winger Michael Olise and Portuguese midfield dominator João Palhinha. Harry Kane will score plenty up top again. Manuel Neuer is still the main man in goal. Jamal Musiala remains one of the world's top talents, whilst midfielder Alexander Pavlovic is back and one to keep an eye on. That's without mentioning players like Sacha Boey, Serge Gnabry, Alphonso Davies, Matthias Tell, Konrad Laimer, Leroy Sané, the evergreen Thomas Muller, and of course, to Kane's linguistical benefit, Eric Dyer. Bayern have expectations at the top end of this league table that should be matched. From there, it all depends on the draw. The inaugural league phase of the UEFA Champions League begins with matchday 1 between Tuesday the 17th and Thursday the 19th of September. Matchday 2 is between Tuesday the 1st and Wednesday the 2nd of October. Matchday 3 is from Tuesday the 22nd to Wednesday the 23rd of October. Matchday 4 is between the 5th and 6th of November. Matchday 5 between the 26th and 27th of November. Matchday 6 on the 10th and 11th of December. Matchday 7th on the 21st and 22nd of January, with the final matchday 8 just a week later. All 36 sides playing simultaneously on Wednesday the 29th of January 2025. It promises plenty of final day permutations and drama. Thank you so much for watching this preview and predictions video. I've given my thoughts and I'd love to hear yours. Be sure to leave your own predictions in the comments below and subscribe to the Matchday Man for more European competition content across the 2024-25 season. I'll see you then.